Quick request before we begin the show today. My name is Vince, and my request is this. Give us a 5-star review. All right, so Andy has got today's episode, and we're going to be doing this from r/NuclearRevenge. User FancyCat11. How nice. But this isn't nice. Ms. Nice Girl has left the building.
Posted by FancyCat11. Miss Nice Girl has left the building. First, I need to explain something. I seem like a very nice, laid-back, easygoing person, so most people make the mistake of thinking I'm a spineless wimp they can take advantage of. Operative word there is seem. In point of fact, I have a vicious, vindictive temper. I'm just emotionally lazy. I don't like wasting time and energy on confrontation that can be more profitably spent elsewhere. However, if you mess with my family or my money, very bad things will happen to you. As my mum liked to say, Miss Nice Fancy has left the building, and you don't want to meet the other Fancy. Example follows. This happened about 20 years ago. I started working as a CAD drafter for a small drafting and design firm, practically fresh out of college. I made a good salary, not great, but comfortable. And very soon I found myself the drafter, receptionist, office manager, file clerk, and even janitor when I needed to pick up a little extra money. My boss was almost never in the office because I was there to handle everything. After a year of being general factotum, on Friday, April the 13th, my boss comes to tell me he doesn't have my income tax paperwork ready, but has a reasonable excuse, and he asks me to file an extension. I told him, this is kind of last minute, don't you think? But okay, I'll do it. And I did. Every couple of weeks afterwards, I'd ask him about my tax paperwork, and he'd tell me, no, not yet, and umpteen excuses why not. Finally, he told me his lawyer had them and was finishing preparing them and would be ready any day. Really? I did wonder why his lawyer was working on them instead of his accountant, but I didn't say anything. My tax extension would be up on Sunday, July 15th, so I had to turn my taxes in by Saturday, July 14th. On Friday, July the 15th, about 5 p.m, I was sitting in my office chatting with my mum, who was there to give me a ride home. My boss came into my office and had the gall to ask me to file another tax extension, and gave some totally bogus excuse. You see, what he didn't know was I had found all my tax paperwork on his computer a few weeks before. Just needed to be printed out and signed off. So I knew then he'd been lying his ass off the whole time. I remember staring at him for a few moments, absolutely dumbfounded, then smiling and saying, okay. My mum told me afterward, when she saw me smile at him like that, she thought, oh shit, Fancy's gonna kill this guy and I don't know if I can stop her. I'm sure he wishes that's all I had done to him. First thing Monday morning, I walked straight up to my boss and dropped my resignation on his desk. He's like, what the hell? And tried to argue. Me? I don't argue. I just told him, I'm leaving. Do you want me to work my notice? He said, hell no, get your stuff and get out. Which was another huge mistake in a long line of them. Because I left and went straight to IRS's office, where I gave up all the goods on this guy. He apparently never actually paid any of my taxes or his, though he did take it out of my pay, and I had proof. It so happens, before he was a CAD drafter/designer, he was a CPA who left that field under a cloud. The IRS was not happy to hear his name again. Everybody knows you do not mess with the IRS. Not content with that, I then contacted all of his business associates and told them what he'd done, that he was being investigated by the IRS, and if they didn't want to be too, they might want to steer clear. I didn't tell his wife, whom I was on very good terms with, but only because I wanted him to have that pleasure. Just picture that conversation. Oh my god, why did she leave? She did everything. Well, I'm very sure she heard all about it from his associates. I will give him this. He was stubborn. He managed to hang on to his business for about a year of living hell before going under. But I smirked every time I went by his empty office. Posted by Goodfella77. Uncle made fun of me for not graduating high school and called my mum a whore. So I took away his business, marriage, kids, and freedom. So this story happened a few years ago back in 2016 when I was a senior year of high school. I will start with some info about the victim of the story, or in better terms, the arsehole that got what he deserved in the end. My dad has 3 siblings, all older than him, and all equally shitty human beings. They bullied my dad for years and made his childhood hell after their parents divorced due to him being slightly darker in skin tone than them. Grandma is white, grandpa is brown-skinned. They were abusive, racist fucks, and worst of them was my older uncle, which he was a big bully and a snob that saw himself better than anyone else. All of the bullying and the bad treatment fucked up my dad mentally so much that he became a raging alcoholic, which made my life a living hell as a result, until I moved out 2 years ago and caused me many a traumas that I am still dealing with to this day. Anyways, in my country, the most important year in your life is your last high school year. It ends with a nationwide exam that determines if you can go to university or not, and the success rate in this exam is fairly low. Basically, if you fail, it's either you drop out and move to low-paying jobs that will never amount to anything due to our country's bad and declining economic state, or you just keep repeating till you get your degree and go to a university that you don't even want to be in, but at least it's a safety net and you can get you out of the country hopefully one day. Things did not go well for me due to family issues and having undiagnosed ADHD at the time that was causing me a lot of academic problems at the time without me knowing the cause, which in turn gave me some sort of depression. It goes without saying that I ended up failing, and due to the importance of that exam, people saw it as a shame and a kind of big letdown. Needless to say, due to the long introduction, my family never had a relationship with my uncles, especially that they looked down on us due to my father being an alcoholic and us being dirt poor, which made them think less of us. Bear in mind they stole all of what my dad inherited from his father, including a house and a piece of land that could have lifted us at least to a mid-class level. Lo and behold, my big uncle that I last saw when I was 7 came to visit us 3 days after failing my diploma. I already did not like this guy after all the stories that I heard about him, and his visit felt weird, like he had no business being around us at all, and somehow he came uninvited. My mum sat him down and started making the usual small talk, and then she called me saying that he wanted to say hi. I went, and the conversation went as follows. "Oh, look how much you've grown up. It's been a while since I've seen you. You look just like your dad. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in terms of being a successful person. You really are following in his footsteps, aren't you?" Well, what do you mean by this? "Well, I heard you failed your high school. Guess this branch of the family is bound to be on the loser side. I guess you better shut your mouth and fuck off. No one wants you here anyway. Guess your whore mum didn't raise you well. That's what I expect from hood rats like you." After that, things devolved into a shouting match and he left. After what happened, I was mad. For a while, I couldn't forget the humiliation, and I decided that one day I will exact some revenge, and so I started plotting. I did some digging till I discovered that all his business and assets are in his wife's name. And he basically owns nothing due to him committing tax fraud and ripping off all his former business associates out of a lot of money before declaring bankruptcy and transferring the money and everything he owns to his wife to evade taxes. I came in contact with former employees that agreed to testify if this shit ever came to court due to him being a shitty human being all over and treating them like absolute trash while they worked for him. Move forwards a few months, and trust me, Reddit, I made this account just to tell this story because what happened later was basically a gift from the gods that helped this story go from pro-revenge to nuclear revenge real quick. I couldn't even hope for a better outcome than this. He came to our house again to speak to my dad because he wanted to make a golden custom ring for his daughter on her 10th birthday. My dad's a jeweler. While he's in our house, he called out for me asking for a phone charger because his phone is dying. And at that moment, I almost jumped from glee. It's my chance to get his phone and dig around. Maybe I can find any documents or emails that can be used later in the police case I was assembling against him. I told him I don't have a brick, but I can charge his phone with a cable from my laptop. Him not knowing any better, like the boomer he is, gave me the phone without batting an eye. His phone had a passcode, and asking for it was too suspicious, so my plan to check his email went down the drain. But still, I removed his SD card, put it in my laptop and copied all his files, charged his phone, and gave it back. He eventually left, and boom, I locked myself in the room and started to check all the files. I found nothing at all. But as soon as I was about ready to give up, I found a well-hidden file with a few videos on it. And then I struck gold. A full-blown sex tape of him with another woman, with his face fully visible, clear as daylight. And I was literally singing to myself from excitement. The revenge. For a few weeks, I made a Facebook account. Made it look like it's his mistress's account. Made a bunch of other accounts that looked like friends and family commenting and interacting with her. After that, I added his wife and texted her, saying that I'm her husband's mistress. She didn't believe me at first, until I gave her too much personal info that I knew about him for her to keep not believing me. Told her that he lied and said they were divorced and promised me marriage. She requested to talk to me on the phone. Made a female friend help out by lending me her voice. She was destroyed and I sent her the sex tape as proof. After that, she filed for divorce immediately and sued him for infidelity, which lost him custody and visitation rights for his girls. She took everything from him, even the house and all his money and assets. They were all in her name. Overnight, he became homeless with 0 pennies to his name, but that was not enough for me. I met up with his former business partner through a former employee who especially hated my uncle's guts, and told him everything, and that the employees are willing to testify against him in court. And he agreed to filing a lawsuit. The cherry on top came when his wife testified that he threatened her safety and her kids' safety if she did not let him put the assets in her name by force. And she literally pulled out phone recordings that she had of him being abusive and him saying that he would kill them if she did not let him basically use her as a tax evasion tool, and that she was scared to use these due to her fear for her children's safety. Due to their previous divorce case, the judge needed to hear no more. That man got hit by 15 years in jail so fast he couldn't even comprehend what happened before he was on his way to the slammer. He will never see his family again. He will never have his fortune back. Just to rub some more insult to injury, I visited him a year ago and just said one sentence. This would never have happened if you didn't call me a loser. And I left. The look on his face while he pieced everything together almost cured my depression. I never told my involvement in this story to a soul, except my little sister, my female friend that helped me, and now you read it. But I had to make him know, just to be able to finally get some sleep at night.
So thanks for being with us. The RR Show is a production of Evergreen Podcasts and Wessler Media. Now, if you'd be so kind, please follow or subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're feeling extra nice, you might as well leave a 5-star review. But for more, visit the website, rrshow.com. That is rrshow.com. I'm your host, Vince. Thank you to my producer, Kevin, and we'll see you next time here on The RR Show.